Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today I'd like to take a look at this little guy right here called High Heavens. It's a game by Ryan Lesser, put out by Wild Power Games, and it is basically a two-player game where one person takes on the role of defending Mount Olympus and the other person is defending the realm of Asgard. Pretty cool theme. Does the game hold up? Let's take a look and you'll find out. Now, the whole idea here is to either eliminate all of the gods in your opponent's pantheon or take down his base. Each person also starts with a deck of cards that have a number of different things in them. And this is a divine power card that can be played on your turn using an action point. This is where you also actually have your gods. Each player shuffles their deck and then draws a hand of 5 to begin the game. Now it does have a mulligan rule where you have at least one god in your hand that you can invoke on your turn. If you do not have at least one god in your hand, you can discard your hand and then draw up to 5 again. And you do that until you have at least one god in your hand to begin the game with. High Heavens uses these things that are called ring chips. And ring chips are stacked underneath the god that they are representing. Now, the different ring chips, the colors indicate what they stand for. Red chips are health points. White chips are architecture, and they're used to represent different structures that are in the high heavens. Orange indicates battle strength or battle bonuses. Green denote poison damage that will occur at the beginning of each player's turn. Silver indicates armor, and then black represents traps or the effect of being disabled during the course of your turn. Okay, now your turn sequence basically takes up the space of 3 different phases. Phase 1 is where you can actually pay an action point to do something on the board. And those things that you can do are, first of all, invoke new gods to join the battle in your invoke hexes. Second, you can attack if you are within range or if you are in melee range. Third, you can move. Of course, all of these are taking an action. You can also acquire. As gods are defeated, they're going to leave behind certain discs that they had on them. For example, a god died here. He left behind an armor ring and a battle bonus ring. And if a god is adjacent to that hex, he can acquire it and basically put it underneath him. Now he has those abilities. They can also use a special ability. Some special abilities on the cards are going to have an action icon on them, meaning that you have to pay an action to use that special ability. And then there are also divine power cards that are actions. So those are the things that you can do during the action phase. Then there is the phase 2, which is the cleanup. Basically, after all of the action points are done, you would simply take off any of your defeated or fallen gods and put them in a discard pile of sorts. The last phase, draw up cards. You can never have more than 5 cards in your hand, but if you are down to, if you have less than 5 cards at the end of your turn, you draw up to 5 cards. A couple of extra rules that we need before we actually go through a couple of rounds here to show you how the game plays is that at the start of the game, no gods are allowed to leave the invoke hexes until there are at least 2 of that player's gods in the heavens. Basically what that means is that if I have this dude here, he cannot leave until I have another guy here, and now he can leave if he wants to. Furthermore, as you go through your deck here, it's going to sooner or later be depleted. Once it is depleted, it is not reshuffled, although some of the Norse gods do have the ability of bringing some of their defeated guys back. The person who goes first only starts with 2 actions, and that's denoted by leaving 1 action token over here in the the Norse pantheon's action space, and then I have 2 over here, so I start with 2 actions. So on my turn, I'm going to first of all, I'm going to use 1 action to invoke Hephaestus. Then we take 10 chips. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2 more, and we add that to his stack and then put him in one of the invoke hexes. All right, now how do we know to put 10 health on him? Because it says right there. So we add 10 health to him. That is one of my actions. A second of my actions could be to play one of these action cards that I have. I think I am going to do that. I'm going to use my third action here to play Hestia's Columns. And basically what this says is place 3 architecture rings on any 2 empty hexes. So I'm going to put one right there, and I'm going to put another one right here. Now, what good does that do me? Well, first of all, it takes up, these are now occupied spaces, which means that for range, we can't count through that hex. Furthermore, we can't move through that hex either. There's a couple columns in the way. So with all of my action tokens being gone, it's the end of my turn. There's nothing for me to clean up because there aren't any dead or fallen gods yet. I only have 3 cards in my hand, so I draw 2 to come back up to 5. And now it is the Norse mythology's turn. So he's going to, let's see here, invoke Heimdall and take his model. We take 10 chips because he starts with 10 health. And he puts out right there. And then we're going to pay, so that cost me 1 action. Then we're going to pay another action to put some armor on Heimdall. And then we're also going to pay 1 more action to put a bonus strength ability on him as well. So now, instead of doing 4 melee power, which is what Heimdall's card says he does, he is now doing 5, and he subtracts 1 point of damage every time he is attacked. Now, that is the end of my turn, as I have used all 3 of my actions. I only have 2 cards left, so I draw 3, back up into my hand. I have 5 cards. Now it is the Greek player's turn once again. We're going to take and use 1 action to deploy Kronos, the Greek Lord of the Titans. He has no less than 14 health, so we got to count out 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And then he gets placed on top of that, and he comes up here. Now, I'm going to play another action here. We're going to play Gifts of Hermes, Greek action, move up to 3 Greek gods, up to 3 hexes each. So we're going to go ahead and, you know what, before we play that, we're going to play, that second action is going to be to put Hades out. And Hades is right here, that crafty little fella. And he's got 9 health, so 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so Hades has joined the party. All right, it's probably not a good thing, but we'll go ahead and do it. Now I'm going to spend my third action and play Gifts of Hermes, and we can move 3 gods up to 3 hexes each. So we're going to go ahead and go boom, 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 and boom, boom, boom. And then this guy will go 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now they are set up. I'm done with my turn. All 3 of my actions have been used. I don't have any guys to pick up to clean up. I only have 2 cards in my hand, so I draw up to 3. Now, I do want to note here that if you ever wanted to, you can discard cards out of your hand during the draw phase in order to draw more cards, to try to get that 1 card you're looking for or what have you. So there is that. So now that's the end of my turn. It goes back to the North Pantheon. Now, as the North Pantheon comes, he says, okay, there's some heavy hitters out there. Well, it's time to get some of my heavy hitters out. So we're going to evoke, or rather, invoke Odin. And let's see, Odin's, here he is. And he gets 14 health as well. So we have 1, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, and 14. So we have 14 here. Here is Odin and Smackaroonie. Now, normally I would want to try to get another guy out there because he has 3 guys out. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather here. I need to get another guy out too, but since these chips are shared between the two groups, if you want to put a god out, even if you're willing to put him down at minimal health, if there is not enough health chips to meet the person's health that is on the card, you cannot deploy the person. So that is one way to try and limit the other person's forces. So I spent one action to put him out on the board. Now, Odin's special powers here says that once per turn, Odin receives +5 range. So once per turn means that I can use that once during my turn, but that's it. I can't do it, can't use it more than that. So my second action is going to be to attack Kronos. All right? And the reason I can attack Kronos is because, first of all, Odin has 2 range. But I'm going to use his special ability and give him +5. So now he actually has 7 range. So I count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is within range. So Kronos takes 2 points of damage. That was my second action. My third action will be to move Heimdall. He has a movement of 2, so he will simply go 1, 2, like that. That's the end of my turn. I have nothing to clean up. I have 4 cards in my hand, so I draw 1 more, and that's the end of my turn. My first action is going to be to move Kronos. So we'll pay one action token, and Kronos has a movement of 4. So we're going to move him 1, 2, 3, and we'll actually go 4 like this. And then we're going to spend an action for Kronos to attack Tyre. All right, so melee power that Kronos has is at 3, keeping in account that there is 1 armor here on Tyre. So instead of doing a full 3 damage, only 2 come off, because Kronos does 3 damage to Tyre, but 1 of that damage is soaked up by his armor ring, so only 2 damage is done. Okay, so that was 2 of my actions there. Let's see, I want to count to see how many. 2, 4, 6, 7. 1 short of being able to get Ares out on the board. So again, you see how restrictive that can be. My last action is going to be to protect Kronos a little bit. We're going to put the armor of Ares on him, which basically gives him 2 armor. Now this is something of note as well. You can never have more than 2 armor tokens or 2 bonus damage tokens on 1 figure. So Tyre here can take 1 more armor and 1 more bonus battling. Kronos here can take 2 orange tokens, but he cannot take any more armor because he is at the maximum that any god is able to have at one time. All right, so that's the end of my turn. That was my third action. And gaming would progress in this manner until all of the gods of your opponent's pantheon are dead and gone, or your opponent's base has gone all the way down to 0. The person who is able to do one of those 2 things is the winner. So that's how you play High Heavens. Now, a couple of things that I wasn't able to go through on the game or in that little playthrough because the cards didn't come up the right way. I know I could have stacked the deck if I wanted to, but I just think that's kind of cheesy. But I'll just let you know anyway. Anytime that a poison chip is placed on a person, it doesn't do any additional damage when it's placed there. However, at the beginning of that god's turn, they're going to take damage for every chip that is placed on them. As far as I can tell from the rules, there's no way to get rid of those poison ring chips once they have been placed there. Your god is poisoned, and he just has to kind of live with that until he's dead. My final comments is quite simply this. This is a neat little game. And it is that. It is little, it's simple, but that's what I like about it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It probably only takes about 30 to 40 minutes to play, so it's a really fast 2-player game that has a lot of tactics. It has a lot of strategy built into it. I love the card-driven aspect of the game. I think that is a huge plus. It differentiates from the other really love that. I really, really enjoy how that worked out. The chips are not as cumbersome as I feared they might be. And I think that might be a little bit because they have these different ridges where they almost lock into place. When you're moving a god, it's very simple to do that. It's not very difficult at all. I really liked the color-coded ring chips because all you have to do is look at the stack and you know what's there. There aren't any questions. It's cut and dry. Very simple to understand, and it is aesthetically pleasing. So that was a huge bonus as well. The models are neat. They are not incredibly detailed, and I'm not saying that they should be or that they have to be in order to get a a positive review here. What I am saying is that unfortunately they are soft. They're the soft plastic things that people have seen come in older games like Battle Lore, the original Battle Lore, where, for example, Ares here looks like he should have had a V8, and Zeus looks like he's trying to slide into third base for some reason. I don't know, or he's riding the lightning or something like that. I don't know. It's unfortunate. All in all, High Heavens, for what it is a quick little 2-player strategy game, tactical game. 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed this. My son really enjoyed it a lot. It has a lot of the same kind of feel as Hoplomachus did. My son also said that he saw some Summoner War vibe going on there. I'm saying that this is a neat little game that deserves a little bit more attention from you guys out there. So go check it out. As always, try before you buy. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.